Ready for a deep dive? Let's explore what it really means to be noble.
We're not talking about those fancy titles or inherited wealth here.
Right. We're going deeper.
Looking at true honor.
The kind that comes from within.
Exactly.
We're going to be exploring criteria of nobility. It uses verses from the Quran.
Specifically Surah Al-Fajr.
To show us, like, what a truly good life looks like.
It's a fascinating look at how, how societal values often just totally miss the mark.
Yeah.
And how we can cultivate real nobility.
In ourselves.
Yeah.
I was so struck by this one idea from the text.
Okay.
It says that wealth and social status can actually be a tougher test from Allah than hardship.
Oh, interesting.
Doesn't that seem so counterintuitive?
It is. It's a really profound point.
Yeah.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
When things are easy for us, it's tempting to get complacent.
Oh,
thinking that all our success is all our own doing. We forget to be grateful for everything that we've been given, for those gifts. That's where the real challenge lies.
Yeah, it's easy to be good when things are tough.
Right.
But staying grounded, humble in the midst of prosperity, that's a whole other level of testing.
It really is.
It makes you wonder if sometimes we just get a little too comfortable, a little too self-assured when things are going well.
It's a human tendency. The text actually uses this example of the Pharaoh to illustrate this.
Oh, wow.
Here's someone with unimaginable power and wealth, right?
Yeah.
Yet he became consumed by arrogance, tyranny.
Oh, wow.
His story really just drives home this point.
Yeah.
Material possessions, your social standing, they don't equate to true nobility. In fact, they could even lead us further away from it.
Wow, that's such a powerful image.
Yeah.
The Pharaoh, blinded by his wealth, ultimately losing sight of what actually matters. It makes you think about how we even measure success today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So much of our self-worth is tied to external factors, isn't it?
Yeah.
What we own, how many followers we have, how other people perceive us.
This brings us to this fascinating concept of risk. It's often translated as sustenance, but the text emphasizes it's so much more than just like material possessions.
Right. It's recognizing that true wealth has all forms of blessings.
Okay.
The material and the social.
Interesting.
Our good name, the respect we earn, the positive impact that we have on other people. These are all part of our risk, our provision, and they're just as valuable as any material possession.
Okay, so if true nobility isn't about like the size of our bank account or our social media following, then what does it actually look like?
Yeah.
In action? Like what can we do to cultivate these qualities within ourselves?
The text lays out these four key qualities that demonstrate true nobility. Honoring orphans, feeding the poor, respecting inheritance rights, and keeping wealth in perspective.
So it's not just about saying like, oh yeah, I'm a good person. It's about walking the walk.
Yeah.
These qualities are about taking action.
Putting those values into practice.
Exactly.
Demonstrating compassion and justice in how we treat others.
The idea of honoring orphans, it really struck me.
Yeah.
It's not just about providing for them materially, but treating them with respect and dignity.
It's powerful. It's about recognizing the inherent worth of every single individual, no matter their circumstances.
That's such a great point. It challenges us to examine how we interact with everyone.
Yes.
Like from our loved ones to the people we encounter every day, like just out in the world. Are we treating everyone with that same level of respect?
It's a question worth pondering, for sure.
Yeah.
And, we'll delve into that idea even more in the next part of our deep dive. We'll also explore that inspiring story of the Ansar and how their example can guide us toward cultivating true nobility.
Welcome back. Still with me. We're unpacking true nobility.
Still going strong.
It's one thing, like, to just talk about these qualities, right?
Right.
But actually living them out. That feels like where the rubber meets the road.
Absolutely.
Putting these principles into practice.
The real test right there.
Yeah, last time we were talking about honoring orphans. And it wasn't just about, material support. It was about treating them with respect and dignity.
Right.
What really resonated with me, though, was this idea that true respect shouldn't be selective, Yeah. It's not just for people we admire or who can do something for us.
Right.
It's about recognizing that inherent dignity in every person we encounter.
Yeah, it's about shifting our perspective.
Yeah.
From like, what can I get from this person?
Yeah.
To how can I treat this person with the respect they deserve as like a fellow human being?
It makes you think about those little interactions we have every day,
Absolutely.
Do I treat, say, the cashier at the store with the same courtesy that I would extend to someone I was trying to impress?
Yeah.
Do I get impatient when someone's like moving slowly or struggling with something? It's so easy to let those moments just kind of slip by without even noticing how we're acting.
Those seemingly small interactions, though, can reveal a lot about, where we're at internally.
Totally.
The text also highlights feeding the poor.
Okay.
Something that, we often connect with charity, but there's a nuance here, I think, that's really important.
You mean like it's not just about giving.
Yes.
It's about how we give.
Exactly.
Okay.
Imagine like the difference between just, tossing some spare change at someone.
Right.
And taking a moment to actually connect with them.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a smile and a kind word.
Totally.
It's about offering help with genuine compassion and humility. Not from a place of pity or superiority.
It's easy to let our egos get in the way,
Totally.
It's less about genuinely helping someone.
Yeah.
And more about like making ourselves feel good.
Right.
Or looking charitable to other people.
It's a trap we can all fall into for sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how this ties back to that idea of risk we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Remember, risk, it includes our social standing, right?
Right.
The respect that we earn through our actions. So when we act with, true nobility, we're not just helping other people,
right?
But we're also actually enriching our own lives in a deeply meaningful way.
I love that. It's like this beautiful upward spiral, right? Like the more we give genuinely, the more respect we cultivate, which then makes us want to be even more generous.
Exactly. Speaking of like inspiring examples, I keep coming back to the story of the Ansar.
Okay.
I mentioned them earlier.
Right.
They were facing their own hardships, right? Yet they opened their homes and their hearts to the Prophet Muhammad and his followers, putting their own lives at risk to help others.
Their story is so powerful.
It is.
It shows true generosity in action, especially when you consider like, the context of what they were going through.
Their example shows us that even when we're like facing scarcity, there's always something we can do to support others. It's a beautiful testament to the power of human connection and solidarity.
Yeah.
Even in the toughest times, true nobility shines through.
Okay. So we've talked about honoring orphans, feeding the poor.
Yeah.
And this incredible example of the Ansar.
Right.
What about respecting inheritance rights? Okay. That one felt a little more like specific to me.
Right.
How does that connect to this bigger idea of nobility?
That is a great question. Like at first glance, inheritance, it might seem like just a legal matter or a financial matter.
Right.
But the text highlights it.
Okay.
Because inheritance disputes.
Yeah.
That's often where our true character is tested.
Interesting.
Think about it.
Okay.
These situations, they involve wealth, power dynamics, often a lot of emotion.
Right.
And it's easy to just let greed and self-interest take over.
So it's about how we handle those situations?
Exactly.
Especially when, like, emotions are running high.
Yeah.
Are we choosing fairness, compassion, even if it means letting go of something we feel entitled to? Or are we letting, greed dictate our action?
Exactly. True nobility.
Yeah.
It's not just about grand gestures.
Right.
Or making these big donations. It's about those everyday choices.
Yeah.
Those moments where we have to decide what kind of person we want to be, even when it's hard.
It's about integrity, doing the right thing, even when no one's watching.
Absolutely. And that brings us to kind of the final quality highlighted in the source.
Correct.
Keeping wealth in perspective. This is where I think we get to the heart of it.
Recognizing that wealth is a tool, not the end goal.
Yes, exactly.
It's about using what we have wisely, responsibly,
Mm-hmm.
not letting the pursuit of it consume us.
It connects back to that powerful statement from the text.
Okay.
The love of wealth is the root of all evils.
Too heavy.
It's a strong statement,
Yeah.
but one that feels really relevant today.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a society that just glorifies material success above all else.
Right. It's about asking ourselves those, like, tough questions. What are my true priorities?
Hmm.
Am I chasing wealth at the expense of my relationships,
Right.
my values, even my own well-being?
Those are crucial questions.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, individual choices either.
Right.
We have to consider those systemic factors
Mm-hmm.
that contribute to this kind of unhealthy obsession with wealth.
Okay.
Things like, economic inequality,
Right.
relentless consumerism,
Yeah.
the pressure to constantly keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, like we're bombarded with messages telling us that our worth is tied to what we own
Yeah.
and how much money we make. It's no wonder it's so hard to break free from that mindset.
It's a constant battle.
Yeah.
But the good news is
Yeah.
we have the power to choose a different path.
So it's not just about changing our own individual behavior,
Right.
but creating a society that prioritizes like
Check.
different values.
Yeah. Things like compassion, cooperation, sustainability.
Exactly. It's about shifting our collective mindset away from that purely material definition of success.
Yes.
Toward a more holistic understanding of like what it means to live like a good and fulfilling life.
Yes. That's what we're going to be exploring
Okay.
in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
How to move beyond those external markers of success
Yeah.
and cultivate true nobility from the inside out.
This whole conversation about like true nobility has really got me thinking about how we define success. It's so easy to just get caught up in those outward markers of achievement.
Totally.
The big house, the fancy car,
Right.
the impressive job title, you know what I mean? But what if we're measuring like the wrong things? What if true success looks totally different?
It's a great point. And the source material we've been looking at, it really does challenge us to kind of redefine success. It's not about what we accumulate.
Right.
It's how we live, how we interact with the world around us. It's
Yeah.
about, that positive impact that we have on others, the legacy that we leave behind.
So instead of asking ourselves, how much do I have?
Yeah.
Maybe the question should be, how much am I giving?
Mm-hmm.
Or what kind of difference am I making in the lives of others?
Powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Imagine moving from that mindset of scarcity, competition,
Right.
to one of abundance and collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like for you?
That's a great question for all of us to think about.
Just consider.
And it's not about, denying ourselves the pleasures of life or like rejecting material things altogether.
Yeah.
It's about putting them in their proper place.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that true wealth, it lies in those relationships, our communities, our connection to something larger than ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a quote I heard recently. The best things in life aren't things.
That's good.
It's about cherishing those like intangible qualities that bring true meaning and joy to our lives, Things like love, connection, purpose. Right. Making a positive contribution to the world.
And cultivating those noble qualities within ourselves.
Yeah.
The generosity, compassion, integrity, respect.
Right.
Those are the things that lead to a really fulfilling life.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected. And that our actions, no matter how small, have ripple effects, like far beyond just ourselves.
It brings up a really important question then.
Okay.
What kind of world do we want to create? Do we want a world driven by greed and self-interest?
Right.
Or a world where compassion and justice prevail?
It feels like we're at a crossroads, like individually.
Yeah.
And as a society, we have a choice to make about what values we're going to prioritize.
And that choice, it starts with each one of us.
Right.
It starts with examining our own beliefs and our behaviors.
Yeah.
Challenging those, ingrained societal norms that tell us that material wealth is the ultimate measure of success.
Like being the change we want to see in the world.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
It might sound cliche.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
It is. It's about those everyday acts of kindness and generosity.
Yeah.
Those moments where we, choose to put others before ourselves.
Right.
The times when we stand up for what's right, even when it's hard.
It's about remembering that true nobility, it's not like some distant ideal, It's a living, breathing practice that we can cultivate every day.
And as we strive to embody those noble qualities, we not only elevate ourselves, but we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that can really transform the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about external actions.
Right.
But true nobility, it also starts with like an internal transformation.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating that sense of gratitude, humility, compassion within ourselves.
Recognizing our own inherent worth. And extending that same respect and kindness to everyone we encounter.
Remembering that true nobility isn't about what we have, but about who we are. And how we choose to live our lives.
It's a journey of self-discovery and growth. That's available to all of us.
Absolutely.
Regardless of our circumstances.
It's a journey worth taking.
Not
just for our own benefit, but for the betterment of our world.
Totally.
So go out there. Embrace those noble qualities. Let's create a world that reflects the best of humanity.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, keep striving to live a life of true nobility.